Hey there, Rayclasted Sambash here, coming at you with another build guide. This one is unscripted and won't have a ton of editing, because I don't have a ton of time right now, and I'm wanting to cannibalize some of this character's gear for another build idea I have. So we'll run through this quickly. I'll cut up some game footage in the background real quick while I'm talking, and then we'll cut into in-game for a second as I go through gear and links. This character you'll see later, the character's name is Big Waste of Currency. It's because I ended up with a stack of Exalts this league because I played a ton early, but then really couldn't decide what to do with them. So I came up with what I thought was a really stupid idea that wouldn't work at all. Sunk all of my currency into it, and it ended up being great. One of the funnest characters I've ever played, honestly, and I'm really enjoying it. Currently level 91. I'm playing on softcore as I always am, but I can say this is probably the first hardcore viable build I've ever come up with. Some of them could be like significantly altered to get to hardcore viable, but this build right as is definitely hardcore viable. I'm level 91, and I play like a maniac, and I've still only died to disconnects and stuff. Unfortunately, ate a couple right before hitting 91 during this last week of really bad network performance that people were having. Got disconnected and died a couple times. I was real mad, and that's why I don't play softcore, or play hardcore, because I was so mad just dying and losing some XP to BS like disconnects and softcore. I don't know how people keep going after something like that in hardcore. So anyways, as you can see in the footage, the character uses Blight and Abyssal Cry combination for clearing. The clear speed of the character is pretty good, not like amazing. The single target, again, pretty good, not amazing, unless it's like a simple single-phase map boss, then you can use Vault Breach and just blow them up instantly with Abyssal Cry, which is pretty nice. But in general, once you get it ramped up, the single target is okay, but the survivability of the character is great. So average single target, average clear speed, great survivability. And that comes from our curse setup. You can see we've got a couple curses on Blasphemy, that is Temp Chains and Enfeeble. That keeps us safe from most stuff, and then you'll see in the gearing section we're using a Dweger's Damning for triple curse to use our Witchfire Brew Flask. Basically the strategy is you run around, use Abyssal Cry on everything, then blight something down, and once one monster dies the entire screen will blow up. We use Leap Slam just to get over stuff. For Vol skills we've got Vol Breach, as I said, for blowing up bosses, and we've got Vol Haste and Vol Lightning Trap. All just damage enhancers for bursting down bosses when we need to. Basically we focused on gaining as much area of effect as possible on this character because I wanted huge blights, and as you can see I pretty much reached the end of the screen with my blight, which is pretty nice, and it makes our Abyssal Cry spread really far. So now I guess we'll go into the gear and cut up. I'll probably like split screen this or something. For gear, you want 2 times Breath of the Councils. By the way, I guess I should mention now, this is definitely not a budget-friendly build. This character probably has like, I want to say maybe 15-ish Exalts sunk into it right now. It's not a budget-friendly gear, but it's something fun if you've got a lot of money sitting around and you want to do something different. So 2 Breath of the Councils. They're really great for Blight because they give the % increased chaos damage, which is what Blight does. They give us radius, and importantly they give us 50% increased chaos skill effect duration. That's really nice for basically all our things. Makes Abyssal Cry slow last really long, makes Blight slow last really long, as well as the damage last forever. Makes the effect on our Wither Totem last super long. Basically it just gives us duration for everything, which is really nice. Next thing you want is a Carcass Jack, definitely. I suppose if you wanted to sort of budget build this, kind of chop the budget down to try it, you could just use like a Tabula or something. The radius from the Carcass Jack is nice, but not necessary really. As you can see, the Abyssal Cry does most of the work anyways, so it doesn't really matter if your Blight is hitting the edges of the screen most of the time, unless you're trying to like kite a boss around. But Carcass Jack is going to be your ideal. We'll go through the gem links on that. Your main setup should be Blight, Void Manipulation, Rapid Decay, Faster Casting, Increased Area of Effect, Controlled Destruction. Obviously swap out Increased AoE for Conk Effect on bosses, and if you've only got a 5 link, I suppose you could ditch Faster Casting and it wouldn't really affect your clear speed at all, but it would affect your boss killing ability. Other links we've got, I guess other unique items will go first. Dweger's Damning, you want that for the triple curse. We'll go over the passive tree in a sec. That gives us 3 curses because we do take the curse on the passive tree. All your other gear is just as much life as you can possibly get, and also capping your resistances. I've actually got this character enough resistances to be capped in high level LE weakness math, which is pretty nice. Look for a helm enchantment with blight damage as you can. I'll go through the other gem setups. Over here we've got Blasphemy with Temp Chains and Enfeeble. If you can, you want to get quality on those. I think I hear my dogs bark in the background. Oh well, we'll keep going. Get quality on the Blasphemy, the Temp Chains, and the Enfeeble. You want as much effectiveness and stuff on these as possible because they're what keeps us safe. You kind of want to avoid curse immune maps on this character. You can do them if they're like low level, not super crazy maps, but your curses are what keep you safe in high level maps with crazy damage mods. So don't do curse immune maps in general, and you also can't do no regen because mana. Up here we've got a cast when damage taken setup. It's just the usual cast when damage, increased duration of Mortal Call, protect us from physical bursts. We've also tossed our Vol Haste in there so it gets the increased duration applied to it. Make sure that your Vol Haste is high enough level that it can't be supported by the cast when damage taken, so it doesn't auto cast your Vol Haste when you don't want it to. Over here in the other scepter, we got Vol Lightning Trap, Vol Breach, and Leap Slam. So these are just our other utility things that we use from time to time. Over in the gloves, we've got our Spell Totem with Faster Casting and Wither, and then we've got Clarity here. You need that unlinked from the Spell Totem, so it does not do a Totem Clarity. Clarity, you just level. Basically, I leveled Clarity whenever I could and still have at least 100 mana left over. Then in your boots, you've got your 4-link of Abyssal Cry, increased AoE, Void Manipulation, and Poison. That is what spreads our clear, makes our clear a lot faster, and also lets us take down single stage bosses really quick. Flasks, instead of an instant flask on this character, since we've got so much life, we've got 6,800 life, I just went with a catalyzed flask rather than an instant flask, and of course you want that to be an eternal rather than a divine. That gives you a ton of life regen really fast, which is nice. We've got Witchfire Brew. Using an Aquamarine flask here, this is actually the first time I've ever used an Aquamarine flask on a character, and it's pretty darn nice. They consume very little charges, and they last a long time, and they create the chilled ground, which gives us more slow and stuff against bosses. You drop these both, your Stibnite Flask and your Aquamarine, on a boss, combined with all your curses and stuff, and most bosses really just don't do anything, which is pretty nice. And we've got Aura of Heat on that, so we're pretty much always immune to chill because only takes 15 charges to use, lasts almost 8 seconds. It's a pretty nice flask. Got a Basalt Flask just to keep us a little safer from physical damage, and we've got that roll of warding because no one wants to deal with curses, and then of course Quicksilver Flask of Adrenaline so we can run around super fast. Take a quick look through the passive tree here. See, we start Marauder. The main reason we want Marauder with this build is because we wanted to do a Berserker so we could get the Warbringer node, which makes our Warcries super low cooldown, so we can spam that for faster clearing. Rite of Ruin's also pretty nice, gives us some damage reduction and stun immunity all the time. Stun's usually not too big of an issue when you have this much life, but will keep you safe from the occasional stun that might happen. Crave the Slaughter does basically nothing for us. I guess, well, I shouldn't say nothing. A lot of the time we do get that 15% move speed boost because if you're playing quickly without your curses, or with your curses and stuff on, you actually very rarely get hit. So I would say that 15% movement speed is probably up like half the time, so it gets us through stuff a little quicker. And then of course Aspect of Carnage damage is nice. So we go down through the life and stuff here. I leveled this character with two-handed weapons because I had a previous character that had a whole series of twink weapons available, so I just leveled Earthquake into Cyclone with two-handers. And I respect at 66 when I could use the Breath of the Councils. So we just go life and armor, grab the life here, head over into the duelist area. We get a little dexterity and stuff on the way, as well as some life regen, but the main reason we come over here is for Art of the Gladiator, just so we can move faster by ignoring the movement penalties from armor. Come up, grab the Jewel Socket, head over here for the duration, and this Flask Life stuff is actually pretty nice. That makes our Catalyze heal us a lot. Grab the whole Scion Life Wheel. Grab your Curse Effectiveness on the way up, as well as the other duration nodes. And head on up, Jewel Socket again. Over in the Templar area, we want the AoE, Life and Mana Regen, Life, Life. Come up, grab Dual Curse, and that's Triple Curse with Dark Wages Damning Ring. Grab the Chaos Damage over time stuff here, head down into the Witch area, third Jewel slot, more AoE, Life, Mana, go through this. This is pretty nice, again, just to keep us from getting stunned on the occasion that something does hit us hard enough that it would stun us. And we just go into the Witch here to grab spell damage and whatnot. You could also cut out a lot of the money that I've spent into this build just by going for cheaper jewels. Like this one's just a nice 3-prop and it's only going to cost you, I don't know, 5 chaos, whatever. A lot of the money into this build went into the other 2 jewels. My other 2 jewels are really nice 4-prop jewels, which add a lot of damage, of course. And that's about it to say about the build. If you are against a tough boss, just make sure you kite around and stuff. If you look on our Blight, you can see that it lasts 6.38 seconds, and then you can multiply that by like 1.4 because of temp chains. So basically, if you just run around tapping the boss, you will eventually take it down. Not the fastest single target without Vault Reach ability, but you can take down just about anything, and the build's super safe. Hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in Rayclast.